Welcome in, sorcerers. As you can see from the thumbnail and from this picture, today we're going to be talking all about dust. Not just about the controversy that necessarily came about, but that certainly inspired us to talk about dust, because if you are a competitively minded sorcery player or you want to be competitive at some point, this definitely pertains to you. And if you are not a competitively minded player, I think it also pertains to you, judging from comments that I've seen from the large casual following that sorcery has, many of whom came from a place where well, let's just say there were some sales tactics and type of things that this tends to remind people of, and it makes them feel kind of bad. So without further ado, without a super emotional response, I waited a few days intentionally for that reason. Let's find out the facts of what's going on with the dust system and with these new promotional cards that are in the store, and how does that pertain to you and your gameplay and your community, and how do you even get these things? So first, let's look at some of the responses that Sorcery has achieved with just this simple short video they released on their mothership page on YouTube. Let's see, what were you guys thinking? Any official statement on where else these will be available? Talking about the courts, which we'll get to in just a moment. An elitist decision breeds dissatisfaction and insecurity among the mortals of the realm. Awesome. Bad move to make these Dust Store exclusives. Legal for all tournaments? Burp. Objection. I second the motion that this whole debacle is terrible. Please listen to your community and roll back this decision. And it just keeps going. And it was not just limited to YouTube. The dissatisfaction from the community was widespread. Reddit, Discord, Chase, the community manager for Sorcery, which I'll show an image of right here, was working overtime. So thank you, Chase, for putting forth your hard efforts to try and squelch the fire that this raised in people. And I wonder if Erik's Curiosa thought that it would be controversial. Yeah, there we go. Because it was sort of rolled out. Well, let's go and see. It was sort of rolled out as if like nothing had happened. So here you go. We introduced the 4 courts. These are promo cards. They are exclusive cards to what is called the Sorcery Dust Rewards Store. If you're not familiar with Sorcery, or if you're brand new to it, on the bottoms of every box of Sorcery, so like this, you'll see like a little scratch off thing that is unique to these boxes. You scratch it off, you get 100 dust points for doing that. But if you accrue enough of those, then you can buy special arts. You can buy play mats. At one point, you were even able to exchange dust points for alpha boxes, and truly insane reward. But as of now, this is the first time ever that Sorcery has released a mechanically exclusive promo card in the Dust Store. So what we've learned is these cards are not tied to an upcoming set. Unlike previously, about a year ago, Sorcery released a promo swap card, which I'll show a picture of, and people were scrambling on how to get swap before big games at Gen Con. But that card came out later in the set, and now everybody has multiple copies of swap, no doubt, that plays the game. These cards, we don't know where we're going to be able to get them. We're assuming that we can only get them from the Dust Store for a very long time. And so the fear rises. The fear that we will miss out on these cards is very real. And I think it has led to a community uproar, because a lot of the community members come from places like Magic the Gathering, where secret lairs and FOMO fire sales are so commonplace these days. You could literally walk out your door and trip on one every week, where people feel like they have missed out on a special opportunity. And competitive players will definitely need these cards. The second issue with having promo cards that are needed for competitive play in your Dust Rewards Store is that currently, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, there is no international sort of fulfiller of dust rewards. So they have to come from the United States, and the international shipping costs are exorbitant and outrageous. We're talking like 50 euros, which is about what, $55 US, to have two cards that you paid 300 dust points for, which is a small amount. It would cost you approximately $60 just to get these two cards shipped to you. And that is just unacceptable. I mean, it literally is just unacceptable. And I will take a hard stance on that. I think that is um, I think that is the biggest frustration I have with this whole debacle, is that the international community, who already feels sort of frustrated with sorcery because of a lack of product often, or Dragon Lord was like very hard to get in many places overseas, is now feeling again sort of like second class citizens, simply because nothing like that's the fault necessarily of Eric's Curiosa. They don't control international shipping rates, but it feels like the due diligence to like make things accessible has been an afterthought. And while US people can get these cards pretty quickly, people have been reporting, ordering off the store and getting an email literally later the same day. I think it's deeply unfair to the international community, many of whom are super invested in the game despite all odds. So let's go ahead and look and see, if you have a store near you, what are steps that you might need to take to try and make it so you can get dust? Well, you need to tell your store, if you play there regularly and they aren't signed up with Sorcery, the Play Network, you need to go ahead and get them to go to this place and click Organizer Application and go ahead and apply to be part of that Play Network, so that they can start hosting events. Events could even be literally casual events. So if just 4 players and up can start to accrue dust points every time you just sit and play the game, and all you have to do is log in to their event. So here's like some allocations. I'll briefly zoom in a little bit. This is for achievement. So you can also get dust not just through like participating, but also just achieving. So if you play in a large tournament of 128 players, as above my head right here, then you can get 1,200 dust. Congratulations to Joffrey from the Trolls of the Realm contest from recently, which had 128 players, and he won. But if you have even just 8 players at your tournament, first and second place can get 200 and 100 dust points, which is a huge amount considering how much you can get in other ways. And more importantly, I think to the large casual crowd of sorcery, is that if you have any of these events, Learn to Play, Casual Meetup, Draft Tournament, Sealed Tournament, Constructed Tournament, if you have just 4 players, you can get dust every month reliably. It's capped at 250, but that's a pretty large amount of dust just for doing what you already do, probably playing with friends. And so that's why you need to get your local game store to be willing. And however you do this is up to you. I don't know your local game store. Some are willing, I've heard. Some are not willing, unfortunately. This is just something you might have to walk them through about how easy it is to do this. So get them to sign up so that you can start accruing your own dust points. Okay, so let me show you my biggest issue with this whole debacle. Here is me. This is my account. You might notice I have the big 0 as far as dust goes. And you're like, but Sean, I've seen you open so many boxes on this channel. And I would say, yes, I was attempting to get to a place where I could get a reward that was foil Harbinger. You see that cost 1,000 dust. I didn't quite make it in time before it was sold out. Harbinger's not my favorite avatar, but the art on this one seemed awesome, and I was like, let me work towards getting this. And then it was sold out. So I bring this up because um, what I did was, instead of getting this foil avatar, I went ahead and got myself this sweet playmat that you will often see in my videos. Now I'm happy with this playmat, right? I think it's fine. What this whole situation brings up for me, unfortunately, is that selling out is a very real prospect. We do not know how many cards they have available in the store for these courts that have been sold to us as necessary for tournament play, and not sold officially by the company that way, but just by the large audience who's looked at them. They are all very tournament relevant, except for the water site cards that just feel like you have to have them if you care about playing the game. And so the idea that one, this stuff can sell out, and two, I have to have it, equals FOMO, fear of missing out. The worry is that we won't be able to get the cards that we need to continue playing this game. And we have received assurances from Chase, the community manager, saying we have printed a large amount of these. But it's so amorphous. Like, I don't know if that really soothes people. I think that it was said with the intention of like soothing, but there's no hard number to it to hold on to. There's no hard deadline of I know I can get these cards by X amount of time. And as we saw before, with the amount of points that you can accrue in Sorcery, you're looking at like 30 every time you go play, capping out at maybe 120 in a month if you don't have any big events or anything going on in your store. Um, and you're not a type of person who has a life where you can spend like multiple days participating in different games on like Saturday and Sunday and Wednesday or something, like you could technically get 250 in a month, but I think most people are going to cap out at around 90 to 120. And that means you have to go like 3, 4 months without being able to get one singular set of these cards, because they all cost 300 dust. To get 2 copies of each elite court, it costs 300 dust. And I think that's just going to breed more and more anxiety in people. And so I know it has bred anxiety in me. I'm not impervious. I didn't have the dust to pick these things up, and yet I do want to compete competitively. So something I did this morning felt a little icky. Let's talk about it. So when we live in this kind of world where we feel we have to have these things, I feel like prison rules apply. And I say that because it reminds me of like, what is the economy of a prison? If you're familiar with any prison at all, and you maybe not are that familiar, but you can probably glean from like films, movies, there's some sort of black market and underground network of like an economy in a prison. And what is the currency? It's cigarettes, or at least it has been in the past. So we are now living in sort of a world where I can't, or I feel like I can't depend on legal means to get these cards. And now I need to look towards more shady means to get these cards, because I'm worried that if I wait 4 months, which could literally take me 4 months to get enough dust to get these things, because I just can't afford to buy more boxes right now, um, they may be sold out. Like, what's the demand on these things? How much supply is there? I don't know. And so here I am in a Discord server. And you know how much I dislike Discord. Not because the people there are bad, but because I don't understand it. It's like my head feels like shredded lettuce being shredded in a bag, just like tossed around, because there's so much stuff going on, so many channels. People are talking over the top of each other, and here I am posting in a Discord server, want to buy 6 times dust codes, and that would be 600 points. That would allow me to get 2 sets of these elite courts, the 2 that I would like to get. And I'm saying I would pay $15 each for each of these dust codes. That price was 10 about 2 weeks ago. Now, because of the extreme demand, and these things are selling out, as I will show you right now. Look at all these things. We've got dust codes for sale. Have 30 dust codes for sale 4 hours ago, all sold out. 10,000 dusts for sale at 15 euros each. So you have to order from overseas and get charged a fee to do that. 2 dust codes sold. 15 each or 14 each for 10 plus orders, sold out. Like, the market is going nuts. People are trying their best to get dust, and this list just goes on and on and on. And here I am, just hopelessly trying to participate in this thing to get some dust so that I can have my tensions eased and missing out. Here's how I opened it up. I thought this was pretty funny. I was like, hola, not even sure where to ask this, but y'all got any more of that dust? Like, I literally feel like I'm like in a back alley trying to like get some of that dust. Y'all got some dust? Because, and I hate the feeling this brings up in me. Like, I understand that Erik's Curiosa, or at least I think I understand that they're trying to find a way to tweak a metagame to make it better. But the fact that it's so exclusive to this one place, and the supply of dust itself, the currency that you use to get it, is so low. I think it's very low for people who don't like. How many boxes do you open in a year, man? Like, for me, like a regular ass person, probably like 6 is about where I have to top out, because I can't afford to keep spending that much money. And so, like, if I bought 6 boxes, you can literally get 2, you can get 4 cards out of that. You're not even getting a full set. So, anyways, if you're interested in trying to figure out how to get dust points, I will go ahead and display the place where you can potentially buy dust points and sit in the line in the heroin house with me, trying to get your next fix. I don't recommend that to anybody, and maybe many of you feel much more level-headed and calm about this, but this is how I've been feeling lately, and it's really annoying that I left Magic, where every day felt like you were missing out on something, to come to a game where I felt like I would never feel that, and I would have one full year to just breathe, and come to a place where now I feel like, in order to get these sweet cards, because these are beautiful artworks, I kind of love the designs. I love tax effects. I used to play Death and Taxes in Magic the Gathering Modern. Had a blast before it was made undoable. But yeah, like, these cards rock. Mobbed Court especially. Look at this thing. Players lose 1 life whenever they cast an elite spell. Yeah, these cards rule. Ordinary minions cost an additional 1 to summon. Summon being important because that means frog tokens and stuff, or skeleton tokens. You'd actually have to pay 1 for them. This is not to cast, but to literally put on the board. And then our Overflowing Court here, which is the beautiful art by Juan Machuca. But in fact, probably the coolest art to like dive into and look at. But unfortunately, this one has a Genesis ability and only lets you cancel the effects of other courts that one turn. But my point is, I really don't love feeling like I'm going to miss out on these things, and I think that is an avoidable fate by Erik's Curiosa, and I feel like they did not correctly predict how bad that would feel, and that's why they're getting comments like this. It took 27 years before Magic came out with Secret Lair Walking Dead and its mechanically unique cards. Sorcery barely made it to year 3. Dear EC, I like your game and approach to the genre. I really do. But, list of problems. Sure hope EC prints more product. It's just 7 different layers as to what, and it just keeps going, y'all. So, let's end on a positive note. I am hoping for, fingers crossed, Erik's Curiosa has a huge supply like they promise. and that they will not run out. Ideally, they don't run out of this card for like over a year at least. And fingers crossed, they kind of offer some of these cards up in other ways, as maybe like prizes or giveaways at conventions for people who attend. Maybe send to stores as part of a kit would be fantastic. I mean, that would be really, really cool. So until then, all you need to do is make sure that you have a login with the Sorcery Play Network, first of all, and that your store recognizes that they also have to be logged in at this organizer application point so that they can post events, including casual meetups or learn to plays. And then you too and your friends can start accruing dust for participation in events. And if these things last for at least a year, then you should have plenty of time to get the cards that you need. And so, positively speaking, that's how I hope this works out. And I hope they've kind of prepared for this extreme gold rush feeling to hit. And so we're going to leave it there because we're just going to end on hope. I know there's fear in the background, but you can choose, if you want, to go to the dark side with me and try to probably overpay in some back office sort of like back alley area in Discord world to try and get that dust. But my hope is that you don't have to. And I wonder what the response will be from Erik's Curiosa, if there is any further, to this circumstance, or to how they will release cards like this in the future, if it will be the same way. If you have thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you if you agree, disagree with any points made here. Like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing content from me. And until next time, when we get to contest the realm together, hopefully, I hope you get all the courts that your heart desires. Peace out.